Hey guys, welcome back to Frankie's Forest. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you why your orchids aren't blooming. I'll start by just saying a common mistake that new, inexperienced orchid growers will do, and that is after the orchid blooms, they'll leave the whole entire dried flower spike on the orchid. One reason that that's very dangerous is because if you do that, there's a very good chance that bacteria will start to go on that decaying piece of plant matter, and that bacteria will form into mold, and then that'll start to rot, and that can actually affect the plant itself. But that doesn't directly affect how the orchid blooms, its bloom cycle. It's just a quick little tip on always remember to cut it off. So that leads right into the next part. If you want your orchid to bloom quickly again and healthy and have like a new healthy bloom, then you'll cut it all the way down at the lowest node, and the node will look like this. You'll see it's kind of a little lump on the side. You'll cut it just right above, and then that will make sure that your orchid blooms quickly again. If you don't do that and you make leave the flower spike like I said before, the orchid may not be as convinced to shoot out another flower spike. The next thing is that you could make your orchid bloom even quicker if you cut your orchid's flower spike 2 or even 3 nodes out from the flower spike. This way it immediately blooms from that same flower spike. If you cut it back, it'll bloom from a new one. Whatever you want quicker. If you want your orchid's leaves to take on a little time to grow and then the flower comes, or if you want just a constant flowering, you could cut it at a little later portion on the stem. But always make sure that you're cutting your orchid's flower spike at the right spot, depending on what your specific needs are and wants are for this orchid and how it's going to grow. Now let's get into really how you can get your orchid to bloom if it's not blooming. One essential thing that you have to do is to fertilize it with some good fertilizer. You just need a decent fertilizer with some decent ingredients. I don't have a video about that just yet, but you can go and search that up. So just make sure that you're fertilizing it, not too much because that could do more harm than good, maybe once every couple weeks, mixed in with some water. I definitely would prefer some water, some that you can put in water, mix it around, and it'll dissolve. This way you can water your orchid. So I would definitely recommend fertilizing your orchid because just like humans need food, not only water. Also, the final step or thing I'm going to tell you is that when your orchids are dormant, which means when they don't have any flowers, when they're just focusing this time to grow leaves and roots, that is when they need the most sunlight. Now, they don't need direct sunlight, just indirect, not really shaded. This is the time that they need sunlight because this is when they grow. They take in energy from their leaves. So they need a good amount of sunlight, and this sunlight will ensure that they have enough energy to shoot out another spike of blooms as soon as they can. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and it helped you with your orchid growing adventure. Please remember to share with anyone who you think will also enjoy this video. This way they can get help too with growing their orchids. And I hope you guys have an excellent day. As always, happy growing.